Hey Juice, Mr. Dodo8449 here. Today I'm going to be doing a little how-to video on how to oil locos. There's a few things that you should and shouldn't do when you oil them. I had a look on YouTube. I couldn't find anyone that specifically said how to oil. There's a few people who sort of did it combining it with other videos, but I'm going to do specifically how to oil. I'll then do one on how to clean wheels and then generally look after the loco, so 3 little videos. Not at the same time though. So we're going to oil this loco. It's my 45XX GWR 262. Now I've had this loco a little while. I didn't have any oil to start with, so she hasn't been oiled yet. This is her first oiling, and I reckon I should improve it now. As what you need is some way of holding the loco upside down. A maintenance cradle, they're sometimes called. Usually they're sort of well, what do you call it? I don't know where they're made from. So yeah, but this is my version of it. It's just a box with bubble wrap. I am trying to get a proper one. I just haven't got around to it. Now this is okay for holding diesel locos and sort of smaller steam locos. I say that because the larger steam locos have got a lot more little bits of detail. Actually saying that, I'm talking rubbish here. Diesel locos are just as detailed with all the tiny little bits. And this sort of thing, you want to be careful if you put it upside down using especially this big, that it doesn't catch anything and pull it off. So you want to be careful if you've got any fine detail. But this is quite an old one. There's not much detail that could break off on it. So I'm fine to do this. But the other thing you can do is, instead of using bubble wrap, you can use a cloth or something like that. All you really need to do is just hold it securely upside down so it's not going to fall over, and make sure you're not going to damage it. So now the locos are upside down, you now need to work on oiling it, which obviously means, well, you need a few things. Number one is you need a needle of some form. These are quite small ones. You can use slightly larger ones, but I like this size needle. Or else something quite thin, like the tip of a craft knife or something like that. It's nice and thin, so you can get down between all the sort of cogs and stuff of the loco. You also need, well, optional really, just a tissue or something to wipe any sort of oil off the end of the needle, or if maybe you put a bit too much or you get a little bit on the bodywork, something like that. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a bit of a cold today. Now this is the oil you need, or equivalent. I know DAP will make one. Expo, I think that's how it is. Expo, or something like that. EXPO. They make a good oil as well. This one here is just actually from my local model shop. I'm not sure what make it is. LMM. I'm not too sure, but anyway, the guy in the store recommended this to me, so I'm going to be using it. I know Pico do one. They call it Pico Electrics. I can't remember what it's called. It's Pico Electric something. I'm sure you'd have known on it. I did ask him about that, and he said, yes, that works absolutely fine as maintenance, but it's more towards cleaning electric parts rather than maintaining bearing stuff. So I was actually going to buy one of the electrics and one of these, but I didn't get around to buying the electrics one. So, so yeah, now this is what you need. So it's very simple to do. Remove the lid, put a little bit of oil in the lid, and then you just start oiling the loco. Now I've already done half of it, so I've already done the well, the far side actually. So I'm just gonna get me oil out. Now, places you need to oil are actually. I'm going to show you this. Every new loco you buy comes pre-oiled, so for the first, well, depending on how much you use it, but the first about 6 months, it shouldn't need any oiling. But after that, again, depending on how much you use the loco, sort of over a week, but after that, you then need to oil it. Now, for my county of Bedford, which is just, well, you can just see a tendon there at the top of the screen, this is the oiling from it. It's from Hornby, but every red dot you see means it needs to be oiled there. As you can see, there's a lot around this front mechanism and around sort of the drive area. Also on underneath, in between all the wheels, around all the bearings and stuff. But as you can see, there's actually quite a lot to oil. But yeah, all new locos will come with something like that telling you where to oil. So as this is an old Loco, I don't actually have that bit of paper. I'm going to use that paper and my head. So that would mean I need to oil on the inside of, I'll do it this way actually, so you have my hands on in the way. You need to oil on the inside of all the wheels, on the main sort of drive shafts, attaching two wheels together, all 6 of them. I've already done that. You then need to oil on the outside of all the connecting rods and stuff. Well, there's on this Loco, there's 3 on each side. You would also need to put a little bit of oil at the front here, as this is a steam Loco. It's also got a little bit of drive stuff here that needs a bit of oil on. I'll be doing that one in a second. And finally, you need to oil all of the cogs and stuff. Now, this one here is actually on this wheel and down the side here. On a more modern Loco, it's actually here, and they usually leave them exposed and stuff, so you can get to that nice and easily. Some Locos, like this one, I had to actually remove this under plate. It was just 1, 2, 3 bolts to get it off. Sorry, 3 to get it off, lift it out, and then all the drive was all nice and easy to get to. So depending on what Loco you've got, depends on a diesel one. This is exactly the same. You need to oil all of the bearings around here, and all of them on this side. But on this side, you've got to remember you've got drive cogs there and there. So that all needs oiling as well. Now, depending on how many motors you've got on your diesel, depends on where you've got to oil. So yes, so going back to the oiling. As I said, I've just got to oil that last bit in here. And you just want to dip it in, very tiny bit on the end, and just run it. Just touch it, basically, is all you need to do, is just touch it. And then the oil will move by itself from one side to the other. There we go. And this is why you need something quite small, like a needle. And that there. And that is it for oiling this Loco. Now, I know you haven't seen me oil all of it, but it's the exact same technique. A very small amount on the end of your needle. Go up to where it needs to and just touch it. So all you have to do is just touch it. Wipe it a little bit as you draw the needle away, and then that will be it for that little piece. I've just remembered that it's also good to oil non-driving wheels as well, which is what these 4 or 2 sets of axles. A little bit more on the front one. Right, now then that's done. Next thing is one of the more important stages, is actually running it in. Whenever you get a new Loco, you should run it in. Whenever you've just oiled a Loco, you should run it in. So I'm just going to run it in and just show you me doing that in a sec. So the running in, it's what you need to do is just to drive it basically forward and backwards over a sort of a 4-foot bit of track, very slowly. Well, not very slowly. A sort of a slow pace, like so. And just go the other way. You need to do that about 4 or 5 times. And as all that's doing is just allowing the oil to move around all of the moving areas. If you put it on a cog, it will allow the oil to transfer from one cog to the other, and it will eventually go through all of it. And already the Loco is sounding happier. This has, unfortunately, it's got quite a noisy motor in it. So I will probably be oiling up the motor as well, but you don't really need to do that unless, like this one, it's a loud motor. And after you've done that just a couple of times, and that is it, you've oiled the Loco, it's been running, and you'll now be able to just use it like normal. Now, I've got, 2 more Locos to do, and then I will have oiled all of my Locos, and then that will be it for 6 months or so. So hopefully you found this useful. If you have any questions about this, please let us know. Actually, there's one more thing I need to say about the oil. Do not use 3-in-1 oil. Okay, I'm making that a rule. Okay, I know I probably don't have that power or anything, but yeah, do not use 3-in-1 oil. You will hear some people on YouTube say, "Oh, it's fine, use it won't cause any problems." It will, but you probably won't see them. 3-in-1 oil is what you call a mineral oil, and it will actually break down plastic, so do not use it. I know people say, "Oh, I've used it for ages and it hasn't broken down the plastic." The reason you haven't seen it break down the plastic is you haven't got any on the bodywork. But quite a lot of locos use plastic gears. Just about there, you can just see that's a plastic gear. The 3-in-1 oil will actually break that one down, and it will break down all the other ones on the inside as well, until eventually something will fail. So do not use 3-in-1 oil or any other mineral oil. The other problem with that sort of oil is it's too heavy. By that I mean it's best way to describe it, it's too thick, and it will actually cause, well, in some cases, if it picks up too much dust, it will turn into like a gloop and like almost cause a lot more resistance around the bearing. So make sure you use the proper oil. But sorry, I just thought I'd better mention that before I say goodbye. As I said, any questions about this, please leave it below. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.